This week on Tech Trends.
You successfully passed other part of the screening exercise.
We take a dive into the animation space to see how a group of Nigerian animators who have caught the eye of the French consulate are making waves in the industry. Also on the program, we chat with a cybersecurity awareness evangelist who gives us insights on how both individuals and organizations can protect themselves against cyber threats. We give you more details in a moment. Welcome to Tech Trends. I am Olayemi Odunuga.
Computers don't create computer animation any more than pencils create pencil animation. What creates computer animation is the artist.
Animators in Nigeria are gradually getting the attention they've been craving for. Unlike the film industry, this set of creatives find it more difficult to get their content on local screens. But with the increased demand for animated content this past few years, it appears there is great potential to expand.
Seyi Fajimi, Somtochukwu Onugbogu, Esther Kemi Gbadamosi, Adebimpe Adebambo, Mustafa Bulama, Tuka Kwairanga. One thing these six have in common is that they are all animators. But that's not all that brings them together. They are also a group of creatives chosen by the French Embassy in Nigeria and Air France to pitch their works at the Annecy International Animation Film Festival in France. Before that, they were all part of a competitive pitching workshop for Nigerian animation professionals, and even though a winner was elected, the jury was impressed by all 5 projects and made a decision to offer all the opportunity to pitch their work at the 2022 edition of the Annecy Festival in front of a larger audience of international professionals.
I think animation is just another vehicle of storytelling. You have film, you have music, you have, and it's just another way of telling stories. And one good thing about animation is that animation is not, there's nothing that you can't do with animation. Animation is not limited to any sets. Animation is not limited to any specific location. You can create whatever world you want to create in animation.
Animation, in the simplest term, is movements per time. That means that when something moves over time. For most things we see moving around, it's because their movement is sort of like automated. Human beings just move because the form allows you to do that right from inside. But animation is something that you control. So it's really about control and then controlling movements in time.
Animation is still a budding industry in Nigeria, but despite the slow rise, the country is still seen as a key talent destination. Animators in Nigeria are consistently carving out a niche for themselves, and this is evident in the demand for locally made productions.
The animation industry in Nigeria, I would say, is on the rise because we've been in so many years of incubation where we've had to train ourselves, learn from experts, and just do work on our own in isolated bubbles. But more and more, people in the animation industry are collaborating more. We are putting the word out more. We are reaching outside of Nigeria more and more. And you can see the evidence in the volume of animation that is coming out of Nigeria now. and some of the projects, the very promising projects that we have lined up in the Nigerian animation industry. So yes, we are on the rise, and we are one industry to really look out for.
After graduation, we all expected life to be rosy.
I think we are just trying to bring notify people and let people know about this space, about this industry. Because most people don't even know that an animation industry really exists. What we noticed when we went for the festival is that we spoke to stakeholders, distributors, big players, and they looked at our content, they were interested, we networked, collected contacts, and a lot of people were really interested in what we were doing and the stories that we were telling. So there are a lot of opportunities, and the opportunities are only going to get more down the line.
In Nigeria, animation is not a subject found in the school curriculum, so one would wonder how these creatives forayed into the industry that is just gaining recognition. For some, watching animated movies like cartoons or stumbling upon flipbook animation sparked their interest, and for others, it could just be their creative mind being restless.
First, I started my creative journey in advertising. I actually studied fine and applied arts in school, and I specialized in painting. But I always had this knack of working with graphics and animation and all of that. So I started off in painting, but then when I worked, my first job was in an ad agency as an ad director. So I first worked in one or two agencies here and there. And then after leaving advertising, I worked in a studio, an animation studio. And I was able to understand the production pipeline and all of that and walk through that before I left there to start my own small outfit boutique studio. And I've been running that since 2019.
The very first time I encountered the process of making an animation was when I came across one, The Simpsons storybook that was in my neighbor's house. And at the bottom of it, they had like this flip book animation. So as I was flipping the pages, the cartoon and the animation was happening. It was Bart Simpson running from one end of the book to the other end of the book. After that, and that was when I was in secondary school. After that, every single notebook I had an animation flip book at the very bottom of the book. That journey from seeing that flip book animation when I was in secondary school to now having published my own animated short film, looking back, it's been an interesting up and down journey, but here I am today, and my love for animation has not dropped one bit, and it will only get better and better.
You successfully passed other part of the screening exercise, but it's company's policy to hire only people with at least 3 years experience.
Please, sir, isn't there something you can do for me?
But having an interest is not enough to get you started in the industry. One needs to be exposed to the principles of animation, and that is where interested creatives encounter their first challenge.
In other climes, in other countries, they have like animation schools, stuff like things like animation, character design, and things like that are embedded in their curriculum in school. So you can find fresh graduates. There are always fresh graduates to pull from. So you have creative talent. You can get creative talent easily. In fact, they even start internships in animation studios before they even leave school. But here we don't have. We're just trying to set up like a private, training, kind of like a walk around.
Most animators, I'm sure probably 90% have learned on their own. They've learned on YouTube and on the internet. No specific formal training. I remembered every effort I did make to try and get some formal training, kind of proved abortive. There are like courses that you take that people organize here and there, but they don't necessarily have the depths that you want to be looking for, that that once you're done with that, you can start up your career, that kind of thing. I think so. Most of the animation, most of what we see as the animation industry has been people's passion, something that they have sustained over the years, because animation requires that. It requires the time in learning and the time in working and all that. So that, I'm sure, has been it.
Consumers are really receptive. For example, if you go to YouTube and you check for, there are some Nigerian animators that are, creating content, content, indigenous content, localized content, and they are doing pretty well. You can see the kind of views that they are getting and all of that. So I think there's the audience is receptive to, animated content. But the challenge we have is that, we don't have a cartoon network, for example, in Africa, or a cartoon network. We don't have broadcasters, or we don't have that kind of distribution channel within Africa or in Nigeria that we can take advantage of. So those are part of the, we don't have any station that is playing animated content on rotation, like 247 or anything like that. So what we find is that a lot of these channels and a lot of these players in the market are now acquiring content from here to show on their channels. So if we can get that distribution channel, we can get broadcasters involved, interested in what we do. I think it will help to push what we do forward and showcase it to a wider audience.
There is a lack of professional trainers and training centers to give a head start in the industry, with little or no government support.
Government support is usually the more difficult question to answer, because animation is expensive. And so in terms of funding, not yet. We hope that at some point we will get that attention, but at the moment funding has been very, very insignificant. Yes.
To be honest, the Nigerian government has not really done much yet for the animation industry. Nigerian animation industry is at that, I would say, at that tipping point. And our government has, will I say, not yet seen the value in animation, in how we can use it to share our culture, our values, and even shape those cultural values, because animation is 80% of animation is consumed by children. One of the most effective, fun, and acceptable means is through cartoons or animation. And that's where we find the opportunity there. And our government has not yet seen that. So that's why there's little to no support yet.
One of the special attributes of Nigerian animators is the effort put towards portraying their cultural heritage, but churning out fully indigenous ideas for consumers isn't easy, especially when getting a platform to broadcast is a challenge.
It currently seems like the audiences prefer foreign content, but that would be for animation now. It would be because the quality, they have not seen Nigerian or indigenous content that is up to that quality and volume. There is a lot of animation content coming out of all different parts of the world, and we are consuming all of them here. So it's a thing of what do you have access to. People are watching content from Cartoon Network, from Nickelodeon, from different channels on cable, but we don't particularly have a dedicated channel for African or indigenous animated content.
But there are glimmers of hope. Increased technological advances are helping them raise the bar of possibilities and hold their audience spellbound. There is a lot happening in the animation industry in Nigeria, and young creatives passionate about the art seem to still be exploring their potentials. However, growth is sure and the future looks promising.
These hands must be good for something.
Over the past couple of years, we've witnessed the speedy emergence of new technologies and a surge in the use of social media, but we're also experiencing a rise in threats posed by cybercriminals and online fraudsters. Every day, the number of Nigerians going online keeps increasing, and for some, the issue of online safety doesn't really come to mind. Cybersecurity expert Confidence Stavely joins us to discuss ways to secure our presence online, and she starts by giving her recommendations.
So I think first and foremost is that consciousness that drives people to look at cyber safety as something of importance that will then drive action. And then speaking about action, one of the first things I would say about how people, everyday people, can keep themselves safe online is to secure their accounts with a strong password, and even go beyond having a strong password, but also turn on two-factor authentication everywhere possible. I say this because a lot of times people, cyber safety is hampered from the fact that they don't have strong defenses. Like you won't have your door, you won't leave your house and leave your door open or your gate open, you will lock it, or you have a security person at the gate, or you would have barbed wire fences. That's the same way we need to protect our accounts, our social media accounts, our email accounts. The next key tip I'm going to give everyone here listening to me right now is to also have an antivirus, antivirus software installed on your devices. This is going to help you be able to detect, viruses and many other types of malware. By malware, I mean harmful code for your devices. So it's important to have that. But it's also very important to be able to know harmful emails or malicious emails from ordinary communications, because that's the way most cyber attacks begin. They begin by sending you an email that is harmful. From there, you click a link, you provide additional information that is confidential, or do something that puts you at risk. So it's important to do that, that and you're able to tell which email is genuine from the one that is not. Another key tip I'm going to give is updating your defenses. It's important that when you have your phone or any other device, you constantly look out for updates, because those updates give you more security features to keep your phones and every other device or tool that you use secure and safe. I like to say it makes it obonge, stronger for you.
So now let's talk about cyber attacks. What easy ways are there for us to detect and respond to them?
Thank you so much. I really like the idea of discussing this detection and response, because a lot of people usually just talk about detection but don't talk about response. And for detection, I want to say that first and foremost, you need to know how something behaves, and if it doesn't behave the same way, you quickly are able to pick it up. A lot of the tools and platforms that we use as it has to do with technology these days generally will give you those signs. So, for example, the social media accounts. In your settings and in your security settings, most platforms that you currently use will tell you where you're currently logged into. So you should keep an eye on where your accounts are logged in from, to be able to know if anything seems unfamiliar to you or something looks off before it gets too late. Because sometimes before you know it, you're logged out of your business account and you no longer have your storefront anymore, or your website is hacked and you no longer have access to your storefront anymore, and it's, funds are diverted somewhere else. Or before you know it, your files are locked and you don't have any way of accessing those files anymore for your business, or you're locked out of the way you make money, basically speaking. So it's important that you know how these things behave and you keep an eye on the monitoring tools you put in place. And this is where know what you have is very important. Okay, it's important that you then look at how they will behave on a good day. A good tip I would also share here is having some monitoring tools, and that's where an antivirus could also help. And some other tools that we've bundled in this toolkit as well that can help you monitor what's happening across your devices, monitor what's happening across your network. And some of these tools, for example, can monitor who is on your network and who has connected to your Wi-Fi, because from there on, a lot of cyber criminals can walk around laterally within your organization. So it's important that you have the monitoring tools. And then on the detection side of things as well, when you monitor and you do the right things with the settings, you should get alerts when something is wrong, or you should get to know when something is wrong. And knowing what to do when something is wrong is very important. From the personal perspective, I mean, one of the key ways you can respond to cyber attacks in the case of maybe your card being stolen or money's being pulled out of your account is to quickly, first and foremost, have the short code for your bank to quickly stop debit on your account. That is one way, from a personal perspective, that you can respond to cyber attacks. So for anyone listening to the sound of my voice right now, if you do not know what short code your bank uses to quickly from any phone stop debits on your account, you should concern yourself with finding that out. And generally speaking, it's important to always have cybersecurity professionals on speed dial for in case you have any incidents that need to be responded to.
Now, cybercrime is one of the most common forms of international crimes, and it is constantly on the rise in Nigeria. Do you think we're giving this threat the level of attention it needs as a country?
I would say yes and no. We have done considerably a good amount of work towards cybercrime issues. One, we have an updated national cybersecurity strategy that has been created by using globally recognized standards, globally recognized ways of doing it. Like basically it's been created using or pulling together resources from different industries. So it was more like a multi-stakeholder approach to creating this strategy. So, and that's very fantastic. Where we are lagging behind right now is implementing a lot of the plans that are put together in that strategy. And I'm hoping that the agencies involved very soon be able to secure everything they need to begin to do that, because it takes a lot for that strategy to be implemented. Another key thing I want to mention here as well is, as a people, we tend to also grapple with many other economic issues. So it can be sort of understandable why, until someone is a victim, they won't prioritize cybersecurity. But I also want to signpost here as well that the risk or what people stand to lose by not prioritizing cybersecurity, and what as a country we tend to lose, is very, very high. Case in point is the reputation we're losing as a country around, well-meaning citizens going about their businesses because of the rate of cybercrime that's emanating from our country. And the people who are doing legitimate businesses, get to pay the price for this particular reputation that we have so badly earned ourselves. So as a country, I believe that we can do more. We can do more from the perspective of not just looking at cybercrime and discouraging cybercrime from just punitive measures, but also other ways that we can boost our economy to give young people other options and make cybercrime less and less attractive to them, for them to go in that route. Because right now, cybercrime is a crime that has low entry barriers and very high benefits. To be very, 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 very factual here.
Now, you made reference to the National Cybersecurity Policy and Strategy. How effective is it in addressing risks?
I would say that because of the multi-stakeholder approach it was given, and very, very up-to-date risk that were highlighted in that document, it is by itself a very good document that we can definitely implement and get us up to speed. I would say that if you look at our strategy side by side, a lot of other strategies across Africa, Nigeria's strategy is very good. There were very great experts put together to create it. However, it would then come from, not just that document being a guide, but also seeing that document play out. And that's where we are sort of, experiencing a bit of a lacuna there. We need to be able to see that strategy really implemented and see the benefits of implementing it. Because a key thing to note as well is that when our growing digital economy is threatened by cyber risk and cyber issues, we, as a technology giant of Africa, we are definitely losing quite a lot from, all of the prospects of prosperity that the digital economy can give us as a nation if cybercrime remains at this level.
Thank you, Confidence, for being a part of the show today.
Thank you so much for having me.
That was Confidence Stavely, founder of CyberSafe Foundation, who is facilitating safe and inclusive digital access in Africa. According to her, both individuals and organizations need to prioritize the safety of their online world and not wait till there's a breach before paying attention to their security in the digital space. That's our show this week. Many thanks for staying with us. Remember, we're on social media at Tech Trends TV. You can also watch this and previous editions of the show on the Channels TV YouTube account. For Tech Trends, I'm Olayemi Odunuga. Bye for now.